Right then, welcome back. Right, in this video we're going to add in a lap counter so that every time we cross the start finish line, the yellow line I've put here, it adds on one to a lap counter. We're also then going to start to look at adding in a second player. Okay, right, so let's just do a quick recap of where we're up to. So far we've got our car starting in the same place, moving, turning, seems all working fine, crashing, and it goes back to the start finish line. And you can see obviously at the moment in the top right corner of the screen the timer actually counts down from 60 seconds and it's going to count down to 0. Okay, at the moment it doesn't do anything when we get to 0, but we're going to do that in the next video or the one after. Right, so let's add in a counter, a lap counter, so we can actually count how many laps we can do within 60 seconds. So we need to click back onto our sprite, our car sprite here, and we're going to use, the first one we're going to use is the green flag. We're then going to use a forever if. Okay, so we're going to say when the green flag is clicked, forever if doing what? So we're going to use, like this one here, we're going to say forever if touching, and we're going to say if touching a colour, and we're going to click on the purple square, and I'm going to click on the yellow line. So whatever colour line you use, click on it. If we touch yellow, well, what do we want it to do? Well, we want it to add 1 point or 1 lap to our lap counter. So the first thing we need to do now is just create a lap counter. So we're going to create a variable. We're going to make a variable, and we're going to call this one red laps. Okay, so we call it red laps. And we're going to press OK. And you'll see at the top here it puts in the red laps counter. I'm just going to put that just somewhere down the bottom here out of the way for now. Just there, looks fine on mine. You can decide where you put that, okay? Right, what we're going to do is we're going to say if we touch the colour yellow, this one here, what do we want to do? Well, we want to change the number of laps, red laps, by 1. Obviously, if we cross the line, we complete a lap, so we get a lap. The other thing we need to do is that we need to make sure that when we start the game, we want the number of laps to be 0, so that we don't start on 6 or 7 laps, we actually start at 0. So let's drag across this one here where it says set red laps to 0, and that needs to go just in between there. Okay, so that it does this, so it sets the laps to 0 before it starts to sort of add on, or it's the first thing it does. Okay, I'm just going to test this and I'm going to show you how we can test it. We press the green flag and we can drag the car with the mouse back below the start finish line. Okay, we had a bit of a problem. So it crossed the start finish line once, but you can see the laps has gone up by 27. The reason that happens is that as it crosses over the start finish line, it's touching it continuously. So we need to tell the computer, tell the game, that when it adds on 1, we want it to wait before it even checks 2 more seconds. So we're going to say when it touches the start finish line, add 1 to the laps, and then wait 2 seconds, and then check again. So let's just test it. So you can see the laps have gone back to 0. So let's get it across. And it goes to 1. And it doesn't. It doesn't add on 20 or 15. And it seems to work. I'm just going to drive around this track for the first time. I'm just going to cross the line. And it's added 2. And it seems to be working fine on the crash. And you can see now it's all working fine there. Right, I'm happy with that part. I'm going to leave it there in this video. So we've got the timer working, we've got the red laps working, we've got this red car kind of set up quite well. The only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink my car a little bit, make him a little bit smaller, so I can do that. I'm also going to change how fast he moves. I'm going to change it to 3 to make it a little bit more difficult, so you can see he moves a bit quicker around the track, and again you can change that to whatever you want it to be to make it quite challenging. Finish the lap, goes to 1. So it's up to you what you change that to. Right, in the next video we're going to add in a second car, and we're going to get the lap counters working for the second car. Okay, see you in a minute.